Good God, the new Shania Twain album is awful. Legit, I am so tempted to just leave it at that, because the more I think about this record, the more brain cells I feel deteriorating. I cannot remember the last time I felt this way for an entire record. Not even the Kid Rock album from last year was this bad. And that was just a pathetic shit show. So if I'm saying this is worse, you should react to something along the lines of, holy shit. But like, god damn, there isn't even a scenario where I can say I can get why someone would like this. There's always a redeeming factor, an appeal I can see in virtually all the music I review. But for this, nothing comes to mind. It's not like Shania is notoriously known for being a spectacular OG artist these days, but this just sinks the bar so incredibly low, not just for older artists, not just for pop country, but just music in general. I don't even consider myself a Shania hater. Sure, I don't care for Come On Over that much, but it was fun and perky, and I don't think it particularly aged well, but it's far from being bad. I will not hesitate to call this one of the worst albums I've ever listened to. Now, I should probably get into the elephant in the room first. Shania's vocals. Now, it isn't a secret that Shania has vocal problems. She suffered from Lyme disease and dysphonia for years, and it severely hindered her vocal capability. I will put this asterisk now. I am not going to make fun of her for that. Dysphonia is a serious issue, and I will not try to negatively connotate anything about her in that particular aspect. Instead, I will put the blame on whoever the frick was in charge of editing her goddamn voice. Because I've seen a few modern live Shania performances. They aren't that great, but certainly not awful. But on this, like, what is this? Shania sounds like nothing but a cold, calculated machine-like zombie, feeling completely artificial and removes any imperfections that allow music to be as enjoyable as it is. It's like if you just sandpapered whatever actual performance Shania gave, leaving a warped performance in its wake. Without raw emotional expression, you do not have emotional music. Willie Nelson is pushing 90 this year, and while his editing wasn't perfect, they did a good job in keeping much of his nuanced performance. So if they can do that for a 90-year-old man, there is absolutely no excuse as to why they couldn't do a good job for Shania. I mean, yes, there is a possibility Shania gave a terrible performance and they did the best they could. You can look at it in either direction, but I'm not going to because, like I said, sensitive subject. And when there isn't just Shania singing solo, they add these completely unnecessary harmonies with additional vocal layers or synth ones that just add nothing, and you know what? I'd say they actually lessen what's already there, adding to its artificial nature even further. Okay, so that's one problem right there, but maybe they diverge their resources into making the writing witty and fun, right? Ha! No, you moron! Why put effort in a blatant cash grab like this? Who needs that? Legit, I cannot even tell if these songs are written by AI or not. These lyrics feel like they were written by first graders who lacked emotional maturity to deliver something of actual worth. From the abysmal repetitiveness of Giddy Up and its unfunny wordplay, to the cheap nature of Brand New saying she deleted their history. Oh wow, such a funny line, it's the funny, yay! To the emotional nuance of Cardboard with Best Friend, to the super edgy lines in Pretty Liar, to the Yas Queen pseudo-feminist energy in the latter half of the record. And don't come at me like I'm some sexist moron, there is some genuinely empowering feminism in country. In fact, it's the backbone of the genre. Putting out these overt pandering tracks without showing any layers of humanity and going straight for a I'm a girl boss theme are just worthless and arguably detract from real feminism and the stories of women in the genre. We don't need to know how Shania has been during her battle with disease. That's not interesting. We just need to know she's a girl boss. Take that, you losers. She's the queen of me. Yay, I feel empowered. Don't you? Shania Twain forever. Honestly, it feels lesser than something ChatGPT could come up with. Because you could probably put in the subject matter this album covered, and it could probably come up with something better than what these people attempted. Any amount of sincerity this writing attempts is buried over the god-awful performances in the instrumentation. Now, I know Shania isn't some neo-traditionalist, she was a 90s pop country diva, but this is just such a poor emulation of the 80s and the 90s, and it's just sad. The melodic composition and the usage of electronic elements are so poorly mismanaged. How is it that Kelsea Ballerini can do better Shania Twain music than the actual Shania Twain? Like, how do you manage that? And that's just scraping the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the production issue. This is a culmination of so many shitty producers, from the lead of 21 Pilots, the guy who works for Pitbull and Justin Bieber, among other terrible producers. Most of these songs are so poorly mixed, having Shania be too quiet and the instrumentals overpower her, or Shania being too loud and her warped performance blaring the 80s glitz out. It's incredibly obvious with the inconsistent techniques that these songs were not worked on hand in hand, and the inconsistent and lack of a clear vision is as clear as day. There had to be at least one person in the studio questioning, is this good? Are we sure we can't do better than this? Maybe that guy was fired, I don't know. I legit can't imagine a single normal person liking this record. Her cult following will probably force this down their throats despite their body telling them, hey, this is kinda poison, are you sure you wanna consume this? But like, if I were to ask a random person on the street, they'd also probably call this shit. Anyone who gives this a positive review is probably just afraid of being harassed by the legions of Shania fans. Look, I'm not saying you're not allowed to like this record, all opinions are valid and all that, but are you really gonna tell me this is a good album? Really? Literally, when I booted up this album for the first time, the only thing I liked about it was a 15-second Australian KFC ad. That's it. Not a single thing from this album feels like it's worth anything. It feels like they spent 5 minutes max on the songwriting, and the rest of the time was Frankensteining Shania's voice into what we see now, and just left the rest of the production process to Soundtrap. It is a blatant cash grab to leech off what is left of her dedicated following for new music. If you want good Shania music, just listen to her old material, or better yet, just listen to Kelsea Ballerini, because somehow she's a better Shania Twain than the real one herself. Don't even give this a hate listen, thinking it'll be funny bad. It is nothing but sheer agony and a slog to get through with abysmal pacing. I'm shocked I even have to give this record this score, but as I said, there's nothing to admire. Nothing that's good or even tolerable. Just sheer awfulness with no appeal whatsoever. I'm giving Shania Twain's Queen of Me a strong 0 out of 10. I considered giving it a 1 to be kind, but it doesn't deserve it. Let it die out as one of the biggest failures this decade. Well, what's next on the to-do list? Oh, fuck!